You ever feel like you were sent somewhere on purpose? Like someone behind the curtain had a plan for you that didn't include you coming back? That's how Bear Creek felt. Middle of nowhere. One gas station. Town population so low, I probably met half of them by day 3. I had just been transferred there as a game warden. Low-key demotion, though they called it a change of pace. My predecessor, a guy named Ronald J. Darrow, just vanished. Official story said early retirement. Locals said otherwise. My first week, I buried myself in busy work. Inventory, permits, combing over trail closures. That's how I found it. Back of the filing cabinet in the basement, behind outdated water damage reports and an old rattlesnake pelt, was an unlabeled evidence box, heavy, covered in dust. When I cracked it open, I said out loud, "What the hell is this?" Inside were blood-stained survey maps, Polaroids of mangled deer carcasses, handwritten logbooks, and a second box stuffed with cassette tapes and VHS recordings, dated from the early 1980s. It looked forgotten, like someone wanted it forgotten. I tried asking one of the older staff about it. He said, "If it's not logged in, it doesn't exist." Then he walked off. I stayed late that night, staring at the boxes. I'd glance over my shoulder every time the HVAC kicked on. I couldn't stop thinking about those blood-stained maps. Eventually, I loaded them into my truck. Just as I slammed the tailgate shut, a voice startled me. "Hey, not to be nosy, but what's all that stuff you're loading up?" I turned and saw Katie, the night security guard. Barely 21, sweet kid. Looked like she barely belonged outside of a college bookstore, let alone patrolling a ranger station. I fumbled. "Oh, these are just old tapes, from wardens that worked here before me. I know I'm not supposed to take them, but I just want to learn more. Get a feel for the history, you know." She smirked, arms crossed. "I saw you staring at that cabinet all day. You won't get in trouble with me. Plus, soon enough, you'll be the one in charge after training." I smiled. She had no idea what I was really taking. Back home, I laid the maps across my living room floor. Weird terrain, hand-drawn trails, and one location in the thickest part of Bear Creek, marked with a red X. No trail names, just Trailhead 42, do not open. I cracked a beer and popped one of the VHS tapes into my old VCR. Grainy footage, dash-mounted camera inside a patrol truck. It's nighttime. The guy driving, Darrow maybe, talks about investigating noises near the hunting grounds. The camera jostles, headlights sweep across trees, and then a scream, loud, close. The ranger stumbles out of frame. A second later, the camera's knocked sideways. You hear something dragging. The guy's still screaming. Then silence. "Fucking super bear, maybe," I muttered. Next tape, family having a cookout by the lake. Typical Sunday footage. Dad talking about his new job as a warden in Texas. Kids playing near a tent. Then it jumps, cuts to the camcorder lying sideways in the grass. They're screaming, something ripping through the tent. Blood sprays across the lens. Something growls, deep, gurgling. I ejected the tape, sweating. My heart was pounding like I'd sprinted a mile. I needed a break. So I played one of the cassette tapes. It was a man's voice, raspy and tired. "They call it the Thing of Bear Creek. Half man, half something else. Smarter than a bear, crueler than a wolf. My brother saw it once. Said its eyes were yellow like road flares. Said it talked to him." That night, I couldn't sleep. I spent the next day combing through records and old permits. That Trailhead 42 didn't exist on any public map, not even the forestry logs. But it was on that map in my living room, so I went. Stupid, maybe, but curiosity's louder than fear sometimes. I drove an hour into the woods, parked at a dead logging road, and hiked through brush until I found it. An old trail gate, rusted, overgrown, chained shut. The red 42 was spray painted on a rotting post. I pushed through anyway. As I walked, the forest got quiet. No birds, no wind. I found bones, deer, coyotes. One set looked like it might have been a person, jawbone and part of a shoe. My skin went cold. I turned to head back. That's when I saw it. Something half buried in mud under a tree. A VHS tape. Plastic warped from moisture. I pried it out. It was labeled in red marker. July 17th, next week. I nearly dropped it. That was next week's date. I ran back to the truck, engine sputtering, adrenaline high. At home, I popped it into the VCR static. Then, me. Grainy footage of me opening the filing cabinet. Me loading the box into my truck. But here's the kicker. It was filmed from outside, through a window. Someone had been recording me the whole time. It wasn't paranoia anymore. It was a setup. They sent me here to find that box, just like the others. Sacrificed by ignorance. Let the dumb new guy dig up the devil and die for it. And the worst part, that thing in the footage. The one tearing tents, dragging rangers. It was still out there, probably waiting for me to take its picture next. My phone rang. I jumped like it was a gunshot. It was Katie. "I don't mean to scare you," she said, whispering, "but I overheard my boss. He's planning to terminate you. He knows the box is gone. I think they were watching who found it." I was silent. "Are you okay?" she asked. "No," I said, "but you can help me. Anything. Get me to the nearest airport. Fast." I left Texas that night and never went back. I burned the maps, tossed the tapes into the river near my mom's house in Missouri. I changed my name a year later. I was 27 that summer, a junior land surveyor for a pipeline company out of San Antonio. It was hot as hell, and the money was damn good. They sent us, me, Jimbo, Weller, and a roughneck named Clyde, into a patch of land west of Bear Creek that the company had just leased. It was government land, real remote, no paved roads, just rock, cedar, mesquite, and heat. We were supposed to scout a new route for a crude oil pipeline. Big bucks in it, maybe too big. But when you're broke, divorced, and sweating through your boots, you don't ask questions. You just grab your stakes, your gear, and go. We hiked deep into that forest, cutting through bramble, setting markers. Everything felt off. No birds. Even the bugs seemed quiet. Weller said it was because a storm was coming, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky. On the third day, we found something. Jimbo called out, "Hey, y'all better come take a look at this." It was a carving set deep into the bark of an old live oak. Weathered, almost ancient, like it had been there a long damn time. It showed a man, or something shaped like a man, but it had wolf legs, bent, clawed, animal-like. Its arms were long and thin, hands ending in talons. The eyes were just dark hollows. "Someone's been hitting the peyote," Clyde laughed, lighting a cigarette. I stared at it longer than I should have. Something about it made my stomach twist. Jimbo tried to brush it off. Some local carved it, maybe a joke, some hippie crap. But then, just as we were about to move on, Clyde stopped dead and pointed up the ridge. "There," he whispered. "You see that?" We followed his finger. High above us, on a hilltop maybe 60 yards away, stood a figure, motionless, too far to see clearly. It was tall, wrong-shaped, shoulders too broad, legs too long. No one said anything for a moment. Then Weller muttered, "That ain't no damn deer." It turned, slowly, and slipped behind the trees. That night, none of us slept well. We'd made camp in a dry clearing, surrounded by brittle brush, had a small fire going. Clyde brought out a thermos of whiskey, but nobody was in the mood. Around 2 in the morning, I heard it. Thump, thump, crunch, heavy footsteps, real heavy, not stomping, just big. I sat up, heart in my throat. So did the others. The fire was still low, glowing just enough to cast long shadows across the tents. Jimbo unzipped his tent real slow and peeked out. "Jesus," he whispered. "There's something walking around camp." I crawled over, looked through the flap. There, maybe 15 feet from the fire, was a thing. It was tall, had to be 7 feet or more, covered in thick, matted fur, legs bent backward like a dog's, arms long and swinging, and its face, not quite wolf, not quite man. Its jaw hung low, eyes reflected the fire, and it walked on 2 legs. My spine went cold. I couldn't move. It sniffed the air, then walked toward Clyde's tent. Clyde whispered, "Hand me my gun." "My revolver, quick." Jimbo fumbled, slid the piece over. Clyde didn't shoot the beast. He aimed down at a black puddle on the ground. Our gear had leaked oil. He squeezed the trigger. Boom! The fire roared to life. The puddle exploded. Flames surged across the ground and engulfed the creature. It let out a sound I'll never forget. Not a howl, not a scream. A roar, deep, primal, like something being born and dying at once. It thrashed wildly, knocking over our toolboxes, sending sparks everywhere. It tore through the trees, on fire, lighting the woods behind it as it ran. We scrambled out of the tents as the brush crackled, and the smell of burning hair filled the air. From a distance, through the haze, we saw it, still ablaze, sprinting through the trees, then gone. We packed up and got the hell out by morning. Didn't even grab all the gear. Drove all the way back to San Antonio without stopping. We reported it, officially, as a fire incident caused by faulty fuel storage. Said we thought we saw a bear. No one pressed. But a week later, a team came down from Austin. Environmental risk inspection, they called it. They asked where the fire started. We took them to the spot. I'll never forget the way they acted when they found the trail. A long, scorched path through the grass and brush, wide as a man's shoulders, curved like an animal had run flaming into the wild. They followed it until it just stopped. No tracks, no ash, nothing, like it had vanished. One of the inspectors, a guy in a gray suit who never gave his name, asked me, "Did you see what caused the fire?" I lied. "No, sir, just smoke. Maybe a cougar spooked us." He looked at me too long before nodding. A month later, the Bear Creek project was delayed indefinitely. The company bought land elsewhere. I left the job soon after. I haven't been back. You grow up in a place like Bear Creek, you learn 2 things early on: how to handle a rifle and how to bury things you'd rather forget. My name's Nathan Cole, born and raised in that same swath of rural Texas where heat bakes your bones and the land don't give you nothing unless you bleed for it. We were farmers, cattle mostly, with some corn when the rain played nice. It was a simple life, and hard. Then that thing showed up. At first, it was just some dead goats, half-eaten, bones scattered like toothpicks, then chickens, dozens of them, then the cattle, big bulls torn apart like they were made of paper. The sheriff came once, took photos, said maybe it was a pack of coyotes or a cougar. But we all knew better. Coyotes don't break gates. Cougars don't leave clawed footprints longer than your hand. We started calling it the Beast of Bear Creek. It was Jed Carter who called the meeting. Jed had the biggest farm on our side of Bear Creek. Wide, open land, with nothing but fields and thick woods that ran right up to the riverbed. He was a proud bastard, mean sometimes, but he knew how to lead when it counted. We met in his barn, late September. 12 of us, Every man a farmer, and every one of us had lost something to the beast. "Look," a man growled, pacing in front of us. "I am sick and fucking tired of this son of a bitch breaking through my gates and killing what I need for my farm." "He's right, Jed," someone muttered. "This has been going on for months, and none of us have even seen the damn thing." "My kids can't even play outside anymore," another man snapped. "I'm paranoid that thing's just gonna come out of nowhere and slaughter them too." Okay, Jed barked. "Everyone settle the hell down." "Settle down," I said, rising to my feet. "How the hell can we calm down when we got that thing out there killing and destroying everything we've worked our whole lives for?" Jed raised his hands. "Please, just listen." Silence. "I have a solution," he said. "But it's gonna take all of us to get it done. I want every single one of you to bring whatever rifles and guns you got at home and meet me here at sundown. My land's wide, endless fields. I've been tracking where that thing hits. It's hitting in a damn pattern. I think my farm is next. I think it's saving the biggest for last." There was a pause, then a nod. "Okay, I'm in." "Me too. Let's make it happen." That evening we gathered on Jed's land. Storm was rolling in, black clouds, low thunder, wind that whispered through the tall grass like something just under the surface. Jed cooked us a hell of a meal. Brisket, corn, whiskey strong enough to peel paint. It felt like a final supper, if I'm being honest. Then came the rain. Hard, fast. A curtain that made it hard to see more than 10 feet. "Great," someone muttered. "Now the damn thing definitely won't show." Jed looked out into the dark, his jaw set. "It'll still come. I'd bet everything I own on it." 20 minutes passed. Then two of the men, Bobby and Frank, decided to walk the edge of the woods, see if they could draw it out. They never should have gone. Bobby was first to hear it, a low, guttural growl like a rusted engine far off in the trees. They moved toward it, slow, shotguns ready. The sound got closer. Then, silence. That was the worst part. Everything went dead quiet. Then they heard it again, above them, a deep, rattling growl. They looked up. It was in the tree, massive, covered in wet black fur, eyes like smoldering coals. Its arms were long enough to wrap around a man. Its legs bent backwards like a dog, but thick like a bear's, and clawed. It dropped. Bobby didn't even scream, just fired his shotgun straight into its chest. Didn't matter. The thing landed on him and tore him apart, ripping into him like it was born from nothing else. Frank emptied his gun, point blank, no effect. It was like the thing didn't even notice him. It wasn't until he swung the shotgun like a bat, cracked it across the beast's face, that it even turned toward him. Slowly, blood dripping from its mouth. Then it roared, a sound that ripped through the woods like thunder. Frank ran. He told us later it followed him on all fours, then through the trees, leaping from branch to branch like some kind of demonic ape. Then back to the ground, always behind him. He reached the clearing, screaming, "It's coming! It's coming!" From the house, someone yelled, "Holy Christ!" Then the roar. We fired into the darkness, everything we had, rifles, shotguns, pistols. Through the storm and mud, we saw it step out of the woods, slowly, tall as the eaves of Jed's house. Its chest was soaked with blood and rain. Frank collapsed on the porch. "Get him in here," I shouted. We dragged him in, slammed the door. Then it just stood there, watching. We boarded every window, stacked furniture against the doors, but it didn't leave. "God in heaven," someone whispered, staring through the rain. "It looks worse than the dreams." "Son of a bitch looks like an ape," another muttered. It circled the house, sniffing, growling. Then it dropped onto all fours, creeping around like it was thinking. Then, crash. "The basement!" someone yelled. We ran to the kitchen. The floorboards there started ripping upward. It was underneath us. Then it rose, right through the kitchen floor. This massive beast, now soaking wet, covered in mud and blood, its eyes glowing. We opened fire. Every man emptied their guns. One lucky shot, straight to the eye, sent it tumbling backward into the basement. It hit the concrete floor hard. We emptied every chamber. Then silence. It didn't move. We got it, someone breathed. Now what? Another asked. Call the cops? One said. No, Jed said. We hang it. Show people. Prove it was real. You're insane. I need the money, he said. We all do. I'll split it. We hauled it in the rain, threw it in the back of Jed's truck. Its body was heavy, stinking of death and swamp. We strung it up in the barn, arms stretched wide with chains, like a damn scarecrow of nightmares. Next morning, Jed opened the barn to the locals. $20 a head. Some screamed, some laughed. Others said it was fake. No paper ever ran the story. But word spread. More people came. They paid, took photos, said it was the devil, said it was a trick. Then, 2 weeks later, we found Jed's place gutted. His cattle were torn apart. The barn door was ripped clean off the hinges. Inside his house, I'll spare you the details, but Jed was shredded, blood on the ceiling, on the walls. His guns were all fired. Didn't matter. And the creature, gone. No chains, no body, just deep, muddy footprints leading into the woods. I left Bear Creek not long after, moved to Houston. Concrete's quieter, but I still dream about it. That roar, that eye, that night. We tried to kill the beast of Bear Creek, but you can't kill something older than fear. You can only piss it off.